adding and subtracting negative numbers. Now, for the rest of this category, it's going to get quite tricky because the rules for arithmetic, how we add, subtract, multiply and divide negative numbers, doesn't seem to follow logic, but bear with me, I will try and explain why the rules are such. So, look at the following sums. 4 plus 3. Now, I know you're shouting out it's 7, but I'm just going to demonstrate how we would visualise that on a number line. So the number 4 is really an arrow that takes us from the number 0 to 4. Likewise, the number 3 takes us from 0 up to 3. Now when we add those together, we go from 0 to 4, and then we bring the number 3 and add it on. We add its arrow on, so we go all the way up to 7. 4 add 3 is 7. Nothing new. Similarly, 4 minus 3. The number 4 is an arrow from 0 to 4, and the number 3 is from 0 plus 3. And when we subtract the 3, we don't add its arrow on as before. What happens is we say we want to subtract it, we make that into a arrow going the opposite direction. We reverse its direction because we want to subtract it, not to add it. And we line it up with the 4, and hence we get that 4 subtract 3 is 1. Okay, so hopefully nothing new there. Now we're going to look at how that reflects when we're using negative numbers. So 4 plus negative 3. So again, 4, same as before, is an arrow from 0 up to 4. Negative 3 is here on the number line, so we have to go with an arrow going the opposite direction. It's how we get from 0 to that number. And when we add those together, we need to line our number up to number 4, and it brings us back. It's the same as the last sum, the 4 minus 3. So 4 plus negative 3 is also 1. And finally, trickiest of all, 4 minus negative 3. So 4 is the same as before. Takes us from 0 up to 4. And negative 3 takes us from 0 down to negative 3. But remember what happened last time. When we subtract a number, we reversed its arrow. Its arrow changed direction, and the same thing happens here. Because it's a negative, it becomes positive. And when we bring that over to the 4, it actually takes us all the way up to 7. So 4 minus minus 3 is actually the same as 4 add 3. And those are really the rules for negative numbers when we add and subtract them. When you add a negative or subtract a positive, or if you see a plus and a minus next to each other, the minus wins. It's always just subtract. But when you see two negative signs next to each other, so we're subtracting a negative number, it's actually the same as adding. You can think of it as like a double negative. When you say you won't not do something, that actually means you will do it. That's one example of a real life case where I'd like to give. So calculate the following. 12 minus 7, easy enough. 12 take 7 is 5. But how about 7 take 12? Well, that's going to take us back past 0 on the number line. If you can't visualize this in your head, I would think, how do I get from 7 down to 12? Down to 0, sorry. We're going to need to subtract 7. So if I subtract 7 from 7, I get to 0, but I need to subtract 12. So I've still got 5 more to take off. So that's going to take me down to negative 5. And like I say, if you want to, best visualize it on a number line. Here is 7. What do I need to take away to get down to 0? Well, I need to subtract 7, but I wanted to subtract 12 in total, so I still have to take away 5 more, and we get down to negative 5. Okay, 12 plus minus 7. Now our rules for arithmetic are going to come into play. When you add a negative or subtract a positive, it's the same as just subtracting. So that is the same as 12 minus 7, which is 5. And finally, 7 minus negative 12. Again, the rule is when you subtract a negative, it's the same as adding. So that's the same as 7 plus 12, which is 19.